Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ears to the East, where all right, today we're going to be talking about a subject which is actually quite close to my heart. And I've spoken so much about how much I love bands who are bigger, especially when they have unusual instrumentalists, like having a violinist in there or a koto player, sort of a la wagaki band, or keyboard players who can play any sound. But the truth is I've always had a very special place in my heart for three-piece bands with only three members. I love them because it's such a rich conversation for topic. You can see my beloved TRiDENT, the band who I'm always tipping, they're right behind me. And so I wanted to talk about three-piece bands there, and I will at some point, I'm sure, start ranting about TRiDENT. But as I mentioned, this is a subject very close to my heart, so I've got a lot of talking to do. And as we all know, on this channel, I am basically the Neil deGrasse Tyson of Japanese music. And I don't mean in intelligence, I mean in constantly interrupting everyone. So I am going to try to not get overly excited about this topic, because just when we were talking about this a moment ago, these guys already mentioned some really cool other three-piece bands who I didn't think about. So first of all, let's see what you guys think. Any sort of examples you'd give of great three-piece bands, or just your thought about the idea of a three-piece band, you know?
Very first question I wanted to get out of the way. If TRiDENT ever adds a new member, how will they then be called? Will they be called like Fork? Sorry about that.
For fork's sake, Jesus Christ.
I do think that TRiDENT, like they switched after they were originally girls rock band Kakame, and then they changed to being a three-piece, which is when they took the name TRiDENT. And ironically, they changed one member. They changed their drummer since then. But yeah, I do agree. They would never become anything else. But I think, and this is one of the things I think we'll get onto, is I think it's very quintessential to their sound that they are a three-piece. I don't think there would be any need for that to change, but that's something that I'm sure.
I mean, if they introduced three more girls, they can call themselves TRiDENTs.
Yeah.
So, well, we really want another member, but that means we're going to have to employ two more. It's like, all right, maybe they'll just do what what Amuse do, and just like, let's just hire two people to dance on the stage and say they're members. All right, I will start with talking about TRiDENT then, as we're talking about them. So I think one of the things that really works for me, I try not to rant. One of the things that really works for me, though, is that when you've got members like in this, because there's nowhere to hide when you're in the three-piece. You know, everyone can get heard. It's not like you don't have two guitarists, you know, because one person's going to be bass, one person's going to be drums, which means that if you've got a guitarist, you've got one guitarist. And it just highlights that all three members are insanely talented. And of course, it does open up some difficulty songwriting because you have less to work with, but I think it puts more pressure to make every instrument special. Now, you get some bands, a la sort of like Chatmonchi, who very much play to keeping a very raw, straight three-piece sound. And you have some bands who, because they're three-piece, they go, well, that gives us room to add other things. And so they'll be playful with adding like orchestras and keyboards and other things, because they go, well, they're a three-piece, you know, that's part of being a three-piece. So some bands play towards being three-piece in the most straight way. Some play towards, you know, using that as room for other things. I think.
But I wanted to ask you exactly about that thing, because to me, one group that Neon also mentioned before we started this video, ASTERISM, you know, they have a really great sound, but I also noticed in their studio releases, they add a lot of like layers, like TRiDENT as well, maybe additional rhythm guitar or some other layers, whatever. And you know, they cannot really reproduce that when they are playing live, because actually you know, you cannot play two instruments at the same time. Do you think that's something they should add in their studio versions, or do you think I'd rather have the raw three-piece sound?
I 100. Look, I respect bands like Chatmonchi who tried to keep it sounding same live and in the studio. But for me, I 100% respect having that difference. I mean, one of the things I always say about seeing a band live is I don't want them to sound exactly like the recording, because I've got the recording. Live is all about you giving it that extra flair, giving that in-person thing, you know, giving a performance that maybe if I heard it on the recording, I'd think was too strung out, you know, make it an event. So
to me, it sometimes can feel that there's something missing then, because then I'm hearing the live and I'm missing one layer of a rhythm guitar, for example.
But a good band will know how to write a live version. Now,
that's true.
When I saw TRiDENT live, Spoopy had just come out not long ago. And I noticed that they haven't played Spoopy so much since, I've noticed, but that was one song where you could tell when they played it live, they were using a backing track to add all the extra sounds, because I think they didn't feel 100% confident doing a 3-piece version, which I think is why they don't play that live so much anymore. But with all of their other songs, you know, with Cry Out has a lot of guitar layering in it. But then you heard them do it live, and they had a version ready to go, which was focused on the core sounds. And, you know, I think in a way as well, when you see a band live and you know they're a 3-piece, in a way, hearing a stripped down version is part of the joy. You know, when you hear the studio version, you're going to hear like them do it 211, but you know, when you see them live, because they're a 3-piece, it's like, you know, it's going to be something much more raw. And in a way,
I think that way around it kind of works. Because I had the experience when getting into Asterism, a lot of people recommended me the live versions first. Then afterwards, I was listening to the studio version. I was thinking like, yeah, that just sounds better to me. But having it the other way around, yeah, you can really appreciate the different writing, like what they did with it to make it match a 3-piece live.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I really have. I know a lot of people against this, but I really never been a fan of listening to a band live before in the studio version. Because to me, a studio version is always where you hear like what they want the song to be. And then when you hear it live, it's like a live performance, as I said before, is always designed to be how you would present it to someone who already knows the song, but now you're presenting it as like an additional version. It's like, well, you already know what it sounds like in the studio. This is how we want to play it, just raw live in a room to you. You know, this is why live is so free. This is why Bandmate can have like an extended solo in Don't You Tell Me, because it's like, you've already heard the version, so you don't mind us now stretching it out and making it a bit different live. But yeah, so I'm all for that, because I think the 3-piece can just say, well, look, we're going to turn up and do an extremely raw version, or they can turn up with a backing track.
Yeah.
Neon, jump in here. Thoughts?
No, I was just listening. I think there's some pretty good points. I want to go back to what you said about the studio version and how the band want that song to sound, and I agree with you there. I don't feel like the core sound of what you want a song to be should ever be compromised. I feel like the studio should always be the definitive version of that song, shall we say, and then the live versions can be their own thing, because yeah, you can get to play or do a different solo or a different chord change, or even play some songs, the same songs in a different key if you want to. You can always mix it up of the live shows, which I feel is part of the joy of seeing that. Going into the debate of whether or not a backing track, I got absolutely no problem with a band playing a backing track. I don't feel like that obstructs from the song at all. I mean, there's so many bands these days, like even more so, that have backing tracks just playing in the background. That it feels almost pointless not to do it. So if a 3-piece band wants to add a backing track onto their songs and then they play their instruments live, I got no issues with that. I feel like if that's what they want to do, or if they don't want to do it, they can choose not to do it as well. It can be as raw or as clean as you particularly want it to be, I think. And I feel like a 3-piece band, more often than not, with a fully fledged one, is already, you know, got a task ahead of them, because there's only so much you can do with one guitar, one bass, and, you know, probably a drummer as well. So you're already limited. So why limit yourself even more? Especially when the main point of a live show is to entertain the audience. So
I mean, I would absolutely agree, but I would also think there comes the point, you know, you have in every song, you have like an additional rhythm guitar, like you're actually kind of a 4-piece group, but just, you know, one guy is doing 2 parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely a debate that you could have, but I just see it as like again, you make the song, as long as the song's not compromised and you do what you set out to do, then that should be the goal more often than not. Make sure the song sounds good first, it plays exactly how you want to play it, and then everything else after that is secondary, for me anyway.
I think actually I'd slightly in support, because I mean, I basically 1,000% agree with what Neon was saying there, but I would say in support of that, one of the interesting things is because if you're a three-piece, and I didn't really think about this before, but it's the freedom to bolt things on, because Benedict, you mentioned about having a second guitarist, and yes, truth is three-piece bands in the studio a lot of the time will have layered guitars, but when you have two guitarists who are in the band all the time, it's like every song has to have two guitars then, realistically, at least. And, you know,
true.
There's a lot of songs that work without two guitars. And so in a way, the option to add that on and not have to have it, but have the option of it is important. And I kind of agree with what Neon's saying there, that in a way, if you turn up to a show by a three-piece band, if they're just playing their songs raw, how could you be surprised? You'd be absolutely fine with that because that's what you came for. If they come with a backing track, you wouldn't be surprised because that's what it sounded like on the album. So why not play to the backing track? Because you know those are not members of the band. If they come up with session musicians, again, there's absolutely nothing they could do which would seem wrong, because all of the, you know, going into it, that everything else is a bolt on. You know, when you hear their album and there's more than 3 instrumentations clearly on the songs, you know that it's a bolt-on. So in a way, there is this sudden freedom by which they can turn up live and do it anyway, and it wouldn't be, you wouldn't have any right to be disappointed or surprised.
Let's not kid ourselves as well. Sorry to interrupt. That most three-piece bands do have like a 4th guitarist stashed away in the back room playing along with them, but nobody sees. Worse than the Cami band shoved in a dark stage far in the corner. Like, it's even worse, like, you know. So, you know, most bands do it. They've always got that 4th on the road guitarist, which is like part of the band, but not really part of the band, if you know what I mean.
I'm still recovering from someone apologizing for interrupting me. So I think it is true. I mean, like, you know, the reason why I said this subject's close to my heart, apart from the fact that I was in a couple of three-piece bands actually growing up. One of the other things as well is, like, when I grew up, there was a lot of the pop punk bands going around. You know, when I was in school, you know, Blink-182 is the thing. One of the first bands who I really liked, although, you know, they're very simple writing, but one of the first bands who really intrigued me for having variation was a band called Everclear, which is an American band who were very interested in, like, doing different styles. And a lot of the time that was because they brought in lots of sounds that weren't in the band and layered them over. And I was always very intrigued by how three-piece bands can actually have quite a lot of variation. But as Neon said, those bands very often would turn up and do live shows, and there would just mysteriously be another guitarist would turn up with them. And I think it is true, but I think that's probably more of a Western trope, having a touring, like, 4th member. Whereas I think in Japan, it would probably be more a case of whoever your spare members are, they are on a rota. You know, there probably wouldn't be one person who's always playing as the 4th member, but is never actually signed up. Because I think in Japan, if you were always there playing all the time, they'd eventually sign you up. I mean, Special Thanks, not a three-piece band, but they had like a 4-piece, and then the 2 members left, and then they just had the same bassist all the time now, who's been like playing as their support bassist, and you can see they basically moved to add her as a member now, because it's like, well, yeah, we can't not have her as a member.
I think it's the style of music as well that you play when you transition from a 3-piece to live, because like if you're doing something like TRiDENT, I feel like that's really important to keep that rhythm and the core of the song intact for what their audience probably want of them. Whereas if you go back to what Benedict was saying about Asterism as well, West, I feel like if you stuck hal-ca on a stage and she soloed for 20 minutes, I don't think anybody would give a fuck, to be honest. That's what, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what they came up as, isn't it? Yeah,
that's what you'd fucking love that if you went and go and see it. So it really is kind of like band dependent, I think, a little bit.
Just in regards to the Asterism thing, so a question to both of you guys, because I was kind of familiar with them, but I've been checking in and out with them over the years, but only really started paying a lot of attention to them since the album came out with the vocals on, and that's actually a big point. Is
that
the
was
fact
a big
that
change for them.
They were not a vocal group, and then they became vocal, which is interesting because, I mean, I think initially, if anyone had asked, oh, how would they add vocals? You know, I think most people would have thought, oh, well, they have to look for a 4th member, a singer. So the fact that they stuck as a 3-piece and then, you know, switched to having hal-ca singing was interesting. because usually we think of it the other way round. You know, we think of it as like, you know, you got a singer who just happens to play guitar. But they very much went the opposite direction. You know, lead guitar, bass, drums, and then, well, I guess one of us has to sing.
I feel like this will be a popularity thing for them. I feel like they've gone probably as far as they could probably go as a musical three-piece. You do get the occasional one band that is purely musical that like everybody knows, but then for everybody else, it's really hard to break into that scene. And for a lot of people, like, you know, let's be honest, how many of us really listen to musical pieces compared to songs with vocals on it? Because I guarantee that
I do a lot, actually.
I do as well, but I'd say as a percentage, even though
as a percentage, 95%,
100% agree.
Yeah, 95% of it, you know, let's be honest, we're listening with vocals on. So I think putting vocals on that is a smart move. I feel like that is the move to go to. Whether or not it's her singing, it is that's a weird one. There are better people than me probably in chat that would say whether that's a right decision or not.
I think once you've already got a great guitarist, then that's the person singing anyway. You've already got a really strong. I tend to find when you've got a really strong instrumental group, people tend not to really hold the singer to a particularly much of a standard because they're just like, we'll just sing so we've got a melody. Just so it is a song. Because let's face it, I mean, obviously people would complain if she was out of tune or she sounded awful, but she sounds good. She's got a good
she sounds good.
Yeah.
But no one's writing home about her voice. Her voice is just there to, as you say, make it a song. But the thing that makes them stand out is the fact that they are exceptional musicians. That's the thing that makes them stand out.
Yeah, I think that's also the difficult thing with adding a singer to Asterism, because they were popular through a instrumental group, and a lot of times the singer instrumental, that's why the singer is the focus or the main person of the group, and they don't really want that for Asterism.
But I disagree with that. I actually think that's the thing that could take them to the next level. Again,
yeah, sure.
With hal-ca, I think she's done.
But that's just why I wanted to say I think it's a good idea to actually have hal-ca sing or some of the band members and not.
I don't know about that. I feel like they could have gone up an even more level if they got a really well professional established singer. Like not shitting on her at all for her vocals. But think of Miku with Bandmate. Like Miku knew, like, okay, I can't sing. I need somebody else to give us that next level that I can't provide. Like she knew that. And I just feel
wasn't actually established as that as a like instrumental group before. You know, that's a big difference, I feel.
But I feel like it's a debate we could go on for forever, whether or not they should have a professional singer in or not.
Can I perhaps invert the question for you? Okay, so in retrospect, do you think that having hal-ca singing has watered down the instrumental quality? Do you think her taking on the singing role has reduced the amount of guitar work she does? I mean, I'm not as familiar with the larger body of work they had before, so that's not a front-loaded question.
Personally, no. I feel like I feel like singing inevitably was the next step forward. I just don't know whether or not her as the vocalist is the quality step forward that they would need to really make it a prominent that they stick vocals. But like Benedict said, I can totally see where he's coming from. They're more known as a musical group. So like, you know, if she doesn't want to sing or they go back to just being musical, it doesn't affect the band in any kind of way. And they can go backwards or forwards then hiring a prominent singer. But it really depends what they want to do with that, to be honest.
I guess I would say, you know, I cannot say 100% my opinion because I only know one song. I think Starlight. How is it called? Stardom. The one song with lyrics. I haven't heard any other song by them with lyrics, but I know like Guernica plus A and that it's without lyrics. The release before, I think.
It makes it sound like I'm saying it makes it sound like I'm saying she's a bad singer, and she's
no. That's not what I wanted to say. But I just
singer.
wanted to say like Guernica plus, it's so good that I don't even think they would have needed it for me. I obviously get it. It will get them a lot of more like fame and just attention because a lot of people, they will not listen to instrumental music. They need a singer and like lyrics to go along with a song to enjoy it. But for me, I would have said, just do something like Guernica plus again. I will love it.
I mean,
Sorry,
Sorry,
I was just gonna say, look at bands like Opeth and stuff like that. You could have like insane musical songs and still have singers in it. You know,
Yeah.
you can do both.
I wouldn't say Stardom was less in any way.
Yeah.
I think perhaps like one thing to look at there is, I mean, I agree kind of with the idea that Neon was saying, that if you wanted to like maximize all the potential, then you'd say like leave hal-ca on the guitar, just let her focus on the guitar, and then get a standalone singer who is absolutely brilliant. But I think perhaps one way of wording the alternate view is that if you got a singer and added them to the group, and it wasn't someone who was a pre-existing member, and then people who already liked the band didn't like this singer, then to them it would be like, well, this isn't asterism anymore. And there might be people who feel like it's not. But if you take one of the already established members and give them a microphone, then people will go like, well, it's still asterism, just asterism have decided to sing now. So in a way, I think there's the identity thing. But that is interesting because they're very different. Maybe if I can just bring another one that you guys mentioned in. I've always been interested by NINGEN ISU, because NINGEN ISU are like a heavy band. And it's interesting to think of a band who are really heavy, but have one guitarist. They have the solos, they're really heavy, but there's only one guitarist. And I kind of like that. I like the fact that you can sort of like head bang.
Technically, they are brilliant, by the way. Like, I really enjoy them so much. Like some of the riffs and the guitar work is amazing. I know a few people that go like who say to me like guitar work goes on maybe a little bit too long, and I'm like, nah, fuck that, man. I love it.
I feel the same.
Oh, really?
I'm glad it's not just me. I do feel that their songs are a little bit too long in places, but I mean, no doubt. I mean, like my favorite songs by NINGEN ISU, they're faster ones when they have the faster songs.
Yeah, I like it when they got a bit of tempo on them as well.
When they get a little bit
hit
too
and miss
stoner for me sometimes.
Yeah, they're very hit and miss for me sometimes. Like some of the songs I think are absolutely like pristine, world class, and then some songs I'm like, I can skip that.
Hold on a minute. Do the three of us all agree on something?
I know, shock.
First timer.
That's where we're retiring the channel now.
Don't explore this any further. Leave it as it is. Some NINGEN ISU is great. Some of it is too slow. All right.
Probably we have exactly the opposite songs again, but
well, I think tempo should be a mathematical thing, so hopefully we agree. Okay, so
there's cracks.
Now, on regards to the three-piece thing, we were sort of jokingly saying at the beginning. I was kind of like jokingly saying, and Benedict kind of looked back at me. I was saying, well, you know, so long as you're not going to include baby metal in this.
I mean, I think it comes down to the definition. What is a three-piece band? Because obviously, baby metal has Cami band, so it would be three.
I think sorry, I can't remember if it was you or Neon who then mentioned as well that obviously the Lady Baby thing. And you know, when Lady Baby originally started as a three-piece, I think that might have been you, Benedict. Sorry, I can't remember who mentioned
the same thing. They have people playing the instruments, and that's not them. So you can't have the group without them. So I wouldn't really consider it a three-piece, even though those other people are in the background.
I think, although I think we were kind of joking with that, I think the thing that it did actually bring up is there is the commercial value of having a three-piece as well, which is with a three-piece, like, you really get to know the members. You know, you see any photograph of a three-piece, all three members are bigger in the photograph because you're having to fit less people in. You know, everyone, in the same way we said there's less room to hide musically, also like commercially, you kind of feel weirdly much more connected, I think, to the members. In the same way, like with baby metal, everyone's like a Sue fan or a Moa fan or a Momoko fan or a Yui fan. And it's like, so, you know, like people. Oh shit! I'm out. I can't be associated with this video anymore. But it's incredibly true. There's actually I think there's a commercial. I mean, yeah, you get things like Bandmate where everyone's got a favorite member as well. But I think when you're a free piece, it allows you to project your personalities more.
I wouldn't just say that was a free piece. I think free pieces definitely helps, but I think maybe like a 4-piece, stretching it maybe to a 5-piece band, and I think like each member kind of gets their fair share. But when you get into like the 4 and 5, I feel like more certain band members get a bit more limelight than others. So I think 3 is like a perfect kind of like
perfect like the opposite of AKB, who are a minor demographic in the country.
This is the other thing as well. There's when there's like there's these idol groups of 15 girls in them. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to keep up with all of these girls? And the worst
want to say that as well, because you, Howard, just said it's more practical for like the promotion because you only have the 3 members and you can really get to know them. But things like Dada Dams, where they add like the 6th and 7th member.
Oh yeah, Dada Dams is
going
like
a new person coming in. You have like, whoa, so many people. I don't think I will like get into actually, everything that much.
That is actually a fair point. I will address it because obviously when I first got to know Dada Dams, they were a 3-piece group.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. And yeah, I think there is this when it comes to like pop groups and idol groups, it's a little bit different because obviously you can play that game a little bit more. But the interesting thing is when these groups get too big, obviously much bigger than Dada Dams, what do? They splinter into subunits. I mean, I think a lot of people who watch this channel probably are familiar with Sakura Gakuin. And of course, they splintered into subunits, including Baby Metal, who were a 3-piece. You know, they had lots of 3-piece subunits.
It almost feels like insurance from the record company when they do that, when they make idol groups that fucking big. Because I always feel like if
2 will leave, we still have enough.
Yeah, if 2 leave, who's gonna fucking notice? There's still like 15 of them, you know.
Well, I'm going to defend Dada Dams quickly because I knew that you're probably going to say something like that. So I'm just going to quit.
But I mean, that's true. Then if you have someone like Yui leaving, it's a big deal for Baby Metal because it's just 3. But if they had 7, exactly, maybe not as much.
This is why, I mean, I was a little bit cautious when they added members to Dada Dams. And the big thing that I said that kind of had me concerned was like, okay, but are they actually going to add something? Are they going to be noticeably different? And for me, like Kimi and Kuru, they were the last 2 members to come in. And I was happy because they had both different personalities, different looks, but also they had very different voices, you know, and they had different musical tastes. And this was interesting because I felt they actually added something. I mean, I'm on the record as saying that I think if they add any more members, it would water it down. I'm on the record as saying that. So, you know, it's not like I don't have a limit, but I think 7 members is totally realistic. I don't think that's too much, especially if all of them are being heard in the songs. All of them have their own individual solo vocal parts that they do in all the songs. So they are being used. But yeah, it's easier when you have a smaller group because everyone's more prominent. So that is true as well.
Yeah. Free Dada Dams promotion achieved, the paychecks in the mail, Howard.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Welcome to Dada Dams. Dada Dams. I'm going to put that back now.
He's going to put it back. Oh.
If I get it wrong and it falls down.
Oh, I want to see the chaos. Oh. Sad.
You're sad that Dada Dams didn't fall.
I'm sad, yeah.
It's just sad for my view.
I just wanted to see the chaos. I wanted to see it all fall down.
Some people just want to watch the world burn. But, yeah, I think it is true that there's something 3 is the magic number in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So musically though, I will say I've always found that to me that there's that dichotomy with a 3-piece band. We're talking about an instrumental band now. On that core subject, a 3-piece band, I think a lot of people look at it and they think it's limiting. You know, it's like, oh, well, you can't do enough. You can't do much with that. For me, I think it is, so long as you accept that a 3-piece band are going to have the right to add other sounds not produced by them. They're going to have the right to hire session musicians, hire producers. As long as you do that, if anything, it's the freedom to bolt things on. And I will say one of the reasons why TRiDENT with the band I started with here is because for me, they're the quintessential example of how to do it right. Sometimes they add other sounds that are not them. Sometimes they do songs raw. Plus, all 3 members fulfill the 4 roles perfectly. They have a drummer who is exceptionally good. I mean, she is insanely good and she's good at interpreting the songs. They have an incredible bassist. They have and of course, Sakura at the front. She is not only a brilliant guitarist, but she's a brilliant vocalist, and neither of those talents detract from the other. She could be a perfect singer or guitarist on their own. And then, of course, you know, Serena and Nagisa in the background both provide backing vocals. They hit every single point you want from a 3-piece. You know, 2 backing singers, 1 lead singer, and all 4 main roles covered perfectly. But they're also not scared to bolt on sounds when they go in the studio. So for me, you know, what you think of their songs and their music, that's obviously subjective, but I think for me, they're the example of doing a three-piece band and doing it really spot on.
Yeah, I don't feel like a three-piece is as limited as we make it out to be. I mean, I think with a three-piece, I think would be in the center of the band as well. You could be a little bit more expressive, especially with whatever genre you're in. I mean, just off the top of my head, you got like the things like that are so iconic. You've got like Green Day, Nirvana. Everybody knows them. Completely different styles. You've got TRiDENT. You've got Rum Kicks as well. For those that know them, they're
Korean punk.
A bit of Korean punk. But that's what I mean. Like they're all three-piece bands, but all drastically different in style and execution, but all so iconic, and you instantly know who they are as soon as you hear them. So you could say it's limiting, and it is to a certain degree. You've always got to acknowledge that, you know.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, you can always, there's only so much you can do in a three-piece. You got to know that, but without, like I said, layering something on or adding that thing, which is to be expected, to be honest.
And that's the thing, it's to be expected. I think that's the thing. You have to get over that like barrier of saying we should expect that from three-piece bands.
And I think again it also depends totally on the musical genre. I mean, a three-piece group probably can't produce music like Love Bites or Unlucky Morpheus, like a grand orchestral sound. Three members are just not enough. But yeah, other groups, like one of my favorite three-piece groups is Greed 5X. It's a pretty kind of simple punk rock group, I would say, but that's exactly a style where you don't need anything more and you don't even want anything more, and there it just fits perfectly. And like in TRiDENT, yeah, they kind of fit all the roles perfectly and all providing harmonies to bring it all together.
Actually, I think you raised an interesting point there though, because like, for example, you mentioned about orchestration. If like a 6 or 7 piece band turns up, they do a song and they've got a bolted on orchestra in the back, you're like, the 6 or 7 of you weren't able to get the arrangement you needed. Whereas if a 3-piece band does it, you're just like, yeah, well, of course, you know, 3-piece band. So in a way, there's perhaps that extra freedom in that, like the bigger the band, the more eyebrows will get raised if they start using session musicians behind them. It's like, you really need to
then you would expect something like Wagaki Band where you have like dozens of members.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it becomes more of a gray area.
Here's a question for you though. If a 3-piece band starts using a fucking orchestra in the background, and they have like a whole freaking 30 people singing behind them, are they still a 3-piece band?
if they do it on that song and then they move along,
yeah, with it. I would say also if they do it on every song, no. Orchestra.
It's like if every single song there's an orchestra, so someone might turn around and go, "You guys want to maybe credit those people back there?"
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like that though. Does anybody like that? Like, I really like that. I know like the likes of Metallica and stuff have done that, like just full-on concerts with like a full-on orchestra in the background. I fucking love that shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course.
Silent Siren did a fantastic orchestral concert. It was a shame because like it was back when they were a 4-piece at the time, but still, you know, and it was really good. And it was a shame because you could tell that the monitoring wasn't good, so everyone couldn't hear each other well enough, and so there were some problems with the timing. But I mean, I love the arrangements, and I love orchestral arrangements. So
I would love that. I mean, we had like a band-made acoustic concert, which I was screaming for about like 4 years that I wanted an acoustic set. When we finally got it, I was like, yes. And I would love just like an orchestra, just put them all back on acoustic guitars, sit them down, and just have a fucking orchestra in the background doing like what's the song? I think it would be fucking beautiful.
There was this thing back in the day. I know we've only got 5 minutes left on Zoom, but there was this thing back in the day which I remember. Like, you know, when you used to like, I think it was back in the like late 90s, early 2000s when buying CDs was still a thing. There was like
we're old.
Yeah. There was some company or another who was clearly buying the rights for band songs, and then they would just hired an orchestra and got orchestras to do, without the original band, just an orchestra to record like a greatest hits of the bands. And there was like, you'd find this company, their CDs would appear behind like loads of, there'd be like one in like Nirvana or whatever, and loads of them where they just done, greatest hits played by an orchestra. And that was like a whole thing. Someone was clearly buying out the rights to do this. They weren't all good, but some of them were really good. Varying quality.
I experienced something like that as well. My dad was listening to it, and I'm like, "That sounds like Creep from Radiohead, but it isn't Radiohead." And then my dad, "No, that's the original. No, that's Radiohead. Believe me."
Oh,
Like
yes.
the cover.
It's actually kind of like amazing when you hear that, because we're used to like bands borrowing from classical music, so it's kind of nice when you see it the other way around as well. But yeah, so I mean, I think that there's for a 3 or 4 piece band, or even for a band made, you know, where it's definitely a rock band, having like doing a concert with an orchestra is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, there is a certain size of band where when they turn up with an orchestra, you're like, you need that.
Yes, always.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess any
like
size
coming to a
band
close,
can
it really depends
justify
on the degree, on how much you
Yeah.
use that additional stuff. You have to be able to do something great with just the 3-piece, and then you can be called a 3-piece group, in my opinion.
Well, like I said,
you can
have to
add whatever you
justify
want.
whatever it is you have to justify it. We're just kind of more looking at generalizations.
Yeah, the good thing about a 3-piece as well is they all get that ego stroked a little bit, don't they? They're all very prominent, and like Howard said, they're all on the front cover of everything. You know, he'd be like, "Look, Mom, I'm famous." So.
I mean, let's face it, it's like if you start a YouTube channel, you'd always make sure you have 3 of them, because every ego has to get through. But the thing is, that's the thing, even with a 3-piece band, there's always that one fucking asshole who's always has to push to the front, doesn't let the other get there like time and alone. Like, that's the problem. Even with a 3-piece, you always get one egotistical bastard who's always ruins it for everyone else. So anyway, thanks for watching Ears to the East. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not adding anything to that. I'm just gonna let that.
Yeah,
one.
you shouldn't. Neon.
We're not picking
enough
on
of you already.
We're not picking on Benedict then. Fuck you.
I'm out.
No. It's like if we were a 3-piece band, let's be honest, I think that Benedict would be the drummer. He would definitely be the drummer.
Okay.
He'd be the one. He'd be behind the drums. He'd be adding all the like important bits that no one would ever notice. But like if they listen to it, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, really good." Really good.
I can get down with that. I have to learn the drums first.
Nah, Benedict's the bassist, man. Howard reminds me of like the nice, awesome little kind of like groovy little guitarist. He's hip. He's got the hippie hat. He'd be an awesome guitarist. I'm just the guy on stage with a little fucking triangle.
To me, Howard is the goofy bass player.
Yeah.
Just going off, laying down crazy lines.
Yeah.
Bass player who can't accept he's the bass player and has to be heard.
Neon, you are our front person. Sorry, you have to play guitar and sing.
With the triangle.
It's all just down to those stunning good looks. That's the truth.
Oh.
And on that note,
we're fucked.
he's the pretty one. You don't want to see the other two.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know what instruments you think we'd play in this 3-piece band. Tell us about your 3-piece bands. Tell us about experience of seeing 3-piece bands live, all that kind of stuff. And until we hopefully see you in the next one of these, remember to keep your ears to the east.